Good morning and welcome to this edition of Morning Cafe. My name is Freddie Ndemuli. How hot is the coffee where you are?
And I'm used to Stanley Yeringit. It's a Tuesday. Welcome, and we'll be discussing matters innovation and matters business. But before that, it's Purple Day, and that one day that we get into matters awareness of epilepsy. Stick around for that conversation.
All right. A quick look at the headlines this morning. Mama Ngina nisamehe, Gachagua asema ni
pole sana
kura kilifanya wamkosea heshima mama. Habari kuu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo.
On Business Daily, Kenya's jobless engineers, doctors fight for gig work. Wow.
On the Standard, Gachagua walks back on Kenyatta's attacks. I think this is the biggest discussion today.
Oh yes.
Amesema pole.
A whole other conversation, rains, deaths, devastation.
And you know, today I came with an umbrella. I bought a boat, but it didn't rain today.
Nothing.
Oh.
Pole sana.
On the Star, families of dead rich men battle for their billions, and they have faces of at least 6 rich men who are now no longer with us.
Mm-hmm. And across the borders, we start with Uganda, new O-level marking guide out.
That's a new vision, matters education there.
Oh yes.
We remain in Uganda. Muhoozi presidency now closer, says FTC. He's now the CDF. Next job,
Apple
State House.
Oh yes. They were saying generator.
Standby generator.
Standby generator.
Into
Tanzania, Siri uwekezaji ATCL. I always love how in Uganda they focus on matters education, and in Tanzania matters transport. Oh, yes. It's either the Air Tanzania or the railway.
Wana barabara nyingi lakini ni mbali. Tanzania crossing from one day to the other is crazy. On the Citizen, the same thing. Still matters on the airline. 3.6 trillion shillings spent on ATCL revival so far. I think they should call it AQ or something. ATCL is just a very long abbreviation for no reason.
Oh, yes.
Okay, back home, we still have the Daily Nation. Yes, jobs dispute that may cripple KRA following that court order on biased recruiting by the Revenue Authority. And those are the headlines this morning. We'll be looking at them later on.
Oh, yes. Right now, though,
technology
I know. I even have a whole new...
I'm too old.
You know, I'm even tempted to do the whole Michael Jackson. You know, some whole, you know, moonwalking and everything.
That screen, how big is that screen now? 100 inch. Are you sure? 100-inch screen.
Wow.
Touch screen.
Imagine having all this as your...
By the way, you better do justice to that.
I even have until Huko Mbali just to take a look at the whole traffic. But let me just update you how the traffic looks like. In case you're just waking up right now and you want to know how the roads might be looking like. So I'll start off with Thika Road. And this is how Thika Road is. The red spot is just before you hit the Jubilee, the building that used to house Jubilee Party. And there you have it. So that is, and just actually after the Muthaiga. And that is where it probably might have the whole red spot. Let's see other roads. In case you decide to use Juja Road, this is how it looks like while still clear. And that is how most roads are looking like this morning. They're quite clear as they are. Aye. Let's see how getting into...
Kizara, you're having too much fun.
I feel like you're tempted to Caribbean.
I feel like I want to do something.
Oh yes, you can. Today you can also take a look at the traffic.
Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing here is, these are the roads in Nairobi. And I tell you, so just to tap like this.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Okay. So Thika Road is very clear. But once you get to that Pangani roundabout, Pangani, what do you call it? So this Pangani interchange, that's when you see some snarl up, hence the red here. But once you cross that and get into town, everything is new.
Everything is new.
Let's go back up on Thika Road. Now what have I done?
Oh yes, it's technology. No, you're okay. You're okay.
I don't want to embarrass myself on national TV, but save me, please. Bye. Next time.
Okay, and finally, all right, there you have it. So you see how it goes. So you see how it goes.
I'm done.
So you zoom in like that and you wait for it to load.
Okay.
Oh yes. So you zoom in kidogo. Okay, imekata. Let's take a look at Kiambu Road finally. Should be somewhere around here. and see how, so this is Kibruda as well as Limuru Road. Looks quite clear on your way to, if you're heading into Nairobi. But everything looks new,
Okay.
Around Nairobi.
Brilliant. I love that screen, 100-inch.
I think after the show, you'll have a whole session with you here just to teach you. Yeah. I know with your age.
Yeah, it will only take me like 5 years to learn. By then we'll have new technology.
Oh, yes.
Stanley's having a field day today.
I know. Anyway, I feel like also taking a look at the whole traffic, even in Kisumu and Mombasa. Oh, yes.
It will take too long. Let's take a look at the weather.
Let's take a look at the weather in Nairobi first off. And they say it feels like 18 degrees Celsius. The lows of about 18 and expect as high as 26. They are, you probably bought a boat and an umbrella.
It's parked outside. You didn't see it?
Oh, yeah.
The big blue one.
Oh, yeah. We even had to tell the gateman.
We had to move some vehicles just to park the boat. And then it doesn't rain.
So it might rain today, though. They say 26 degrees as of around 3 p.m. there. And this is how things might be looking like and getting into. So probably some light showers for today. That is Nairobi. Let's see how Mombasa is looking like. And they're warning you, actually, in Mombasa, it's excessive.
Excessive. It is 27 degrees as we speak.
Now. Yes.
And it feels like 33. Wow.
That is how things are looking like.
It's only 9 minutes past 6.
So for them, the lows are as low as 27. That's probably...
That's the lowest
temperatures they'd be experiencing today.
Wow.
Oh, yes. And imagine even for a Muslim.
And it's raining, actually.
Oh, yes, some light showers, though.
It's raining and it's 27 degrees Celsius, but feels like 33.
Yes.
That's close to hell now.
And imagine now if you're Muslim and you're in that period of Ramadan with this kind of heat.
Well, interesting for them.
And finally, let's take a look at Kisumu. A different scenario there, 21, though they say it feels like 24. Some light showers as well. Precipitation about 70%. They will be expecting as low as 20%, or rather 20 degrees Celsius, and getting into the day. So as high as, let's see, for the day, as high as about 28 degrees is what you'd be expecting for today. That is the weather for you.
All right. Do we have the day's diary?
We'll be taking a look at the day's diary a little bit later on. I can get into the papers now.
All right. Tuangalie magazeti sasa.
Oh, yes.
On the Standard, the big headline goes with that apology by the Deputy President. Gachagua walks back on Kenyatta's attacks. They call it humble pie, and it says, I am sorry. Deputy President tells former First Family for his incessant attacks on them and their enterprises as politics in Mount Kenya hots up. That story is on page 4, makes for a very interesting read. And he says, quote, I tender my apologies to Mama Ngina and ask her to forgive me just like her children. It was political bad manners and it shall never happen again. Well, with politicians, you can never say never. But then again, that's a big story on the front page of the Standard. The other big news has to do with the rains in Nairobi. It only rained for a few hours. But then they say in Nairobi, when it rains, the disaster that follows. And these are houses. Workers at Lavington Chalby Drive removed debris from a house that was flooded following heavy rains on Sunday night. Dagoretti North MP Beatrice Elachi blamed the Nairobi County government for giving approvals to buildings near or on riparian lands. Well, there's so many people you can blame for this, but yes, the fact remains, when it rains in Nairobi, disaster strikes. Stories on page 2. And it's interesting that matters rain feature on the front page of the Standard. We'll see how many other places it features in as far as the news this morning is concerned. Also on the front page of the Standard, they make mention of Rita Tinina, the journalist who passed on last week. Funeral, a requiem mass was held yesterday at the Holy Family Basilica. Tinina remembered for her work ethics. Family and friends paid tribute to journalist many said had a character that should be aped by many during Requiem Mass. The story is on page 3. Also highlighted on the front page of the Standard, DJ, police face murder over officers killing. Celebrity DJ and police officers were yesterday arraigned, with the DPP saying they will take a murder plea after man they allegedly fought with died. Now, this is a story we've been talking about from the weekend, and yesterday we were saying just how much it could affect this DJ's life and business going forward.
Oh, yes.
You see, once you're charged with murder, there's so many things that happen, and even if you eventually get acquitted, if at all, it actually takes a lot of years. I've seen that yesterday his lawyers applied to that he be allowed to leave remand and go attend to some of the commitments he had already made for this Easter weekend. He already had enough gigs planned for the weekend.
Obviously and expected, yeah.
And now he has to cancel all of them and saying, please just let him get out, do some business, we'll be back.
And foreseeably, I mean, when you take a look at a case like Joey Irungu's case, it dragged on for quite a number of years.
5 years.
Yes,
five, actually heading to 6 years before even Jackie Maribe got that acquittal. So you can see just how bad such a case can be. Well, on the top strip of the Standard, High Court throws out Njeri's 17 billion shilling diesel case. Can you imagine going to court and you're told, yo complain uko nayo 17 billion, wachana yo maneno. Sawa. Aliambiwa stop watching Money Heist. 17 billion shillings? Well, anyway. Elsewhere, taxpayers paying a state drugs fee. That story is on page 12 of the Standard. Matters business, KQ resumes its flights to Eldoret. And in sports, Lost Glory, why AFC must sing a new song. That's on page 39. But if you flip the paper, Matters WRC Safari Rally, foreign drivers ready for Safari Rally Challenge. And we have there, I told you people will see dust this week and this weekend. We're already seeing dust on the back page of the Standard. Pierre-Louis Loubet, navigated by Nicolas Guillou, Gissou, in action at the Kedong Ranch during last year's WLC rally. Also, we have photos from last year's rally. Kenya's Kaltundo navigated by Team Jesop. And spectators cheered during last year's WRC rally. And remember all the hula baloo around going to Vasha. It is still trending on Twitter. Guys are planning to go to Vasha. So yes, people shall see dust in Naivasha.
People shall see dust.
And some will see dust after Naivasha. So you choose. When do you want to see the dust? Because dust you shall see.
Yes. But nevertheless, just type that hey. If you don't get a response, type another hey. And you'll still see dust.
That's the Standard this morning.
On the Daily Nation, similar headlines as that of the Standard, but the main story does not reflect on the Standard. Matters job dispute that may cripple KRA, and they call it a costly mistake. So court order barring Kenya Revenue Authority from hiring is threatening to paralyze its operations and undermine revenue collection, with the taxman now finding itself in the middle of a human resource storm as contracts for over 50 senior managers are set to expire amid a staff shortage of 4,000 that has persisted over the years. And they say court ordered authority to put in place ethnic diversity and regional balance policy, was on pages 4 and 5. And so they say that in pages, now that is on page 5, they say the 30-day window given to the KRA to put in place an ethnic diversity and regional balance policy will expire next Monday. And sources indicate that the document has not been prepared. And they have about a few days and minus Easter. Because right now, in most companies, most offices, you have, technically Thursday is still a holiday. Because it's, is it Holy Thursday? Yes. By Wednesday, by Wednesday, most offices start saying Tuonane Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes. So this is interesting because when they say expires until Monday, it has not been prepared yet. Ni kama wataona dust.
Yeah. Wataona dust.
Oh yes. So they also say, so this means that the KRA will enter full-blown human resource a crisis that could directly jeopardize its revenue collection mandate and potentially affect the Kenya Kwanza budget for the 2024-2025 financial year. And that is the main story. The highlights are also focused on other dailies. They say heavy rains bring death, destruction. At least 7 people are feared dead after a heavy downpour in Nairobi on Sunday night that left a trail of destruction in its wake. The heavy rains have also exposed the capital's age-old problem of poor drainage, which City Hall has struggled with for years. And I believe right in Nairobi, you have to learn the art of tiptoeing when you're crossing some of these roads, because bila hiyo kiatu italoa maji ndindindi. On the right scroll, DJ John Falme, 6 others to be held for 14 days in probe. And it's a farewell. Colleagues, friends pay Rita Tinina glowing tributes at Requiem Mass, which happened yesterday at the Holy Family Basilica. And at the very top scroll, we haven't had some of these interesting headlines for a minute now. This should be the most interesting one for this week. Mama, please forgive us. Interesting. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was offered an apology to former First Lady Mama Ngina Kenyatta for what he termed, quote-unquote, political madness during the 2022 general election campaigns as he stepped up his bid to take control of the Mount Kenya region. And on the bottom, or rather the back page, they are focusing on something else here. And actually two interesting stories. First off, the new chief registrar who was sworn in yesterday, that is Winfrida Boyani Mukaya. And she says a focus on cash as she takes reign at the judiciary. But then at the bottom, and this is what we were taking a look at last week, where they say a report that said Finland is the happiest country in the world. So they say Kenya's happiness ranking drops for first time in 5 years. Younger people more happy, survey shows.
Yeah, Stanley is happier than myself.
I knew you were going there. But yeah, I mean...
You know, they say ignorance is bliss. The less you know, the happier you are.
I mean, yes. So probably nikianza kufika,
the more you know, yes, the weight is actually heavier on you.
The more sad I'll become. But yes, so that's taking a look at if they've also quoted, because in last week's report, they were quoting how at past 30, before 30, men and women had the same emotions and negative emotions as well as positive emotions. But then now past 30, women had more negative emotions. And so
you have quite a longer period to be happy.
Yes.
To remain happy. Great. Good for you.
I doubt if they've had that. But that is the Daily Nation in a nutshell. Quite a heavy paper for today.
Yes. Mama Ngina nisamehe, with my hands raised up. That's the front page of Taifa Leo. Gachagua asema ni kichaa cha kura kilifanya mkosee heshima mama. Kuna picha pale ya naibu wa rais. Ameinua mikono juu, akasema Mama Ngina nisamehe. Naibu rais asema anamtambua Mama Ngina kama mzazi na mwanamke wa hadhi anayefaa kuheshimika katika ukanda wa Mlima Kenya na nchi kwa jumla. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili ni habari iliyopewa kipaumbele kwenye magazeti kadhaa, kando na ile ya mvua ilionyesha Nairobi. Vidokezo zaidi kwenye ukurasa wa mbele, mahakama yakosoa kifungo cha maisha, yasema hukumu hiyo ni kinyume cha katiba na hivyo basi haina msingi wowote. Kwingineko, Anjeri apoteza kesi ya mafuta ya shilingi bilioni 17. Vidokezo zaidi, familia yataka hisani kuzika jamaa. Mwanamume aliyepoteza jamaa zake 4 Shakahola aiomba serikali imsaidie kuwazika sasa. Na pale juu, masuala ya spoti, Uingereza na Ubelgiji kupimana leo. Mechi hii itatumika kupima utayari wao wa kombe la Ulaya, yani Euro 2024. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa 20, na hilo ndilo gazeti la Taifa Leo Jumanne ya leo.
Well, the Deputy President is still making big news on People Daily, but he's not asking for apologies. And that's apart from other highlights that have been focused on other dailies. This one is new to them. On the front page of People Daily, at the very top scroll, they say Gachagua now pushes for cheaper alcohol. That is on page 2. And just to have a quote, just take a look at what he was saying. So the government is working on a model of reintroducing low-priced but safe and affordable alcoholic drinks as one of the ways of eradicating illicit brews in the market. So according to the Deputy President, under the new model, the government will also address taxation which impedes production of cheaper but safer productions.
Kama washagundua, mvinyo lazima.
And I mean, you remember in Mombasa and in the coastal regions, they were protesting and saying, well, you guys focus on other drinks, but sisi, mnazi. Mnazi is very okay.
Tuko tu sawa.
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, other leaders, some MPs from the Western region saying, just focus on other regions. We are okay with our own busa. So having all this on the table, it's going to be interesting. They also say it matters high taxes. So this is on the second page of People Daily. Last year, the price of beer went up following the government's move to increase excess tax on non-malted beer from 36 shillings to 45 a litre. They also say the new regime pushed up the prices of spirits by a massive 50%. A move manufacturers like EBL and Kenya Wine Agencies Limited said will push drinkers to turn to cheap drinks. So it's a whole catch-22 situation. Do you increase the prices and people go for the very lowest, or do you focus on now this that are cheap and actually make them very safe?
Right.
The highlights on People Daily. People Daily is actually focusing on, hasn't gone with what others are going with. On the left, state spells out tougher new rules to arrest road accidents. And final one there, Generation X complain of bias by employers. Which generation are you in, Fred?
I'm a millennial. I don't know if I'm the one, you're Generation Z. Generation X, who are those?
I'm very curious. You're a millennial?
Yes, I am.
With spots of white hair?
I'm the first cohort of the millennials.
Ah, okay. But then the big story, rain, deaths, devastation. 4 people killed in city by floods, including police officer who was swept away while rescuing trapped families. But then there's a variation of the numbers that different papers are giving. We did see Daily Nation telling us about at least 7 fear dead. So maybe the numbers might be changing as of today. But in a nutshell, that is the People Daily for you.
All right. Let's take a look at the Business Daily. Kenya's jobless engineers and doctors fight for gig work. They say 40% of workers microtasking have a STEM degree. And STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So at least 40% of Kenyans working in the gig economy. And gig economy is an informal sector where, yes, you don't work 9 to 5, but you do different gigs depending on their supply and demand. And they say 40% of those engaging in freelancing have a degree in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, underlining the underemployment that has now forced medical doctors and engineers to fight for short-term online jobs. They have an image there of a model with the sticker saying, looking for a job. And they say unemployment is highest among those aged between 20 and 34. The other highlight on the front page, WIN, as world's largest asset management firm, picks NSE. One of the world's largest asset management firms, BlackRock, has made an investment on the Nairobi Securities Exchange after a 4-year break in a major win for the Kenyan bourse that is emerging from its worst year in history. Other highlights on the ticker on the front page of the Business Daily. Mombasa Port grows 12% despite regional rivalry. Elsewhere, Kenya's happiness ranking drops. Yes, we've made mention of that. And coffee farmers lament 3-month pay delay. Matters agriculture. That's on the front page of the Business Daily. Let's take a look at the Star.
On the Star, they have quite different highlights. This is one day that the Star's paper is quite heavy. And they say families of dead rich men battle for their billions. And this is cases ongoing include Moi, Kibaki's, Kibo's, Nchai's, and Michuki's. And they have 6 gentlemen pictured on the front page. Former presidents Daniel Moi, Mwai Kibaki, as well as John Michuki, Simeon Nyachai, Jackson Kiboj, Tario Singh Rai. And on the second page, Melka Nyambura, Jacob Ochola, Margaret Chua, Yvonne Michuki, as well as Jaswant Rai, and Niton Mukuha. Back to the front page, the highlights on the left. Party politics, ODM to cancel grassroots polls as rivalry spirals. That will happen next month, somewhere in April.
Oh yes, even UDA were to have elections around this time. I doubt anything like that will be happening.
Though I saw they're now partnering with China's
Communist Party.
Yes, Communist Party.
To carry out the elections?
No, actually now having some of the members go to China.
Jubilee tried that.
And
Jubilee
just
Party
have
actually
a whole benchmark of how things are.
Jubilee Party tried that. They actually went to China, and they even had the Communist Party officials come to Kenya. I don't know what happened to that. But yes, I think it's someone's dream to have a big party, a big, huge party like the Communist Party of China in Kenya.
Yes.
And if you can get the connection between UDA and Jubilee, I know you know who that is.
Oh, yes. The highlights, how poor, needy students locked out of bursaries. And they say tough times. You'll have the story on page 8. This is after the World Water Day. So water prices to rise as subsidies set to be taxed. So according to the Water Services Regulatory Board, say that this is considering doing away with subsidies. Wow. It's about to be a tough year. And that is the stuff for you.
All right, let's go back to the Daily Nation and the Standard and take a look at the cartoons today. The cartoon on the Standard, page 14, has 4 slides of the same person just expressing his thought. On slide 1, he says, hey, hey, they told us things will be better. On the second frame, they told us things will be cheaper. On the third one, they told us things will be easier. And on the last one, and in 3 years' time, they'll think we're stupid. That's a cartoon on the Standard. On the Daily Nation, it has a caricature of the Kiharu MP, Ndindi Nyoro, who doubles up as a chairperson of the Budget Committee in the National Assembly. And he made a very curious comment yesterday, asking the Kenya Revenue Authority to go easy on its taxation measures. And the irony of the matter is that he chairs their Budget Committee that handles matters finance bill. And he is behind the Finance Act of 2023, which has actually instituted all these taxation measures. So how does he come back and tell KRA, please go easy? So we do have this caricature of this Kiharu MP on one hand trying to push the Finance Act 2023, which is a big bundle of book, down into Parliament. And then now he's feeling the burden, he's trying to carry the same. And he's sweating and he's saying, KRA, go easy. That's a cartoon on page 17 of the Daily Nation today.
On page 10 of Paper Daily, it's a blame game on the knee-jerk reactions on matters dealing with the whole alcohol menace. And they have about 4 people there. The first one represents the government. And he's holding a rungu saying, good taxes, but I blame you for the mess. And he's pointing to the brewers who, the gentleman is holding a briefcase with quite an bundles of money that is revenue. And he says, I blame her for his condition. And this her is the bar owners holding a beer or whatever alcohol drink that is, and a couple of beers. And she's saying he did it himself. And this person is lying on the floor, quite drunk as a fish. And there are very many, how many? This about 9 bottles of whatever brand that is. There's a commentator that says, tackling Kenya's alcoholism challenge. On the Star, finally, they take us to Uganda. And they have the standby generator, aka, that is Uganda's new Chief of Defense Forces, Kainerugaba. I believe that's how they pronounce it in Uganda.
Muhoozi Kainerugaba.
Kainerugaba. And he's donning napkins as well as a pacifier, and the father is holding him, like a little toddler, and just making him go to the right path.
Trying to make him fit in that big shoe.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
They're actually big shoes. When you remember back in 2022, whatever he was saying and even threatening to invade into Kenya, and also outrightly supporting Russia's invasion into Ukraine.
Do you know when Museveni became president? It's 1986.
Wow.
Yes. 1986, where were you, Stanley? 1986 was about 20 years before you were born. So yes, those are big shoes to fill.
Wow.
Definitely. Anyone taking over from Museveni has big shoes to fill. But according to what the headline on the New Vision in Uganda said, it's actually getting closer. Yes, actually the Daily Monitor in Uganda. Muhoozi presidency now closer, says FDC. That is what we're seeing on the cartoon on the Star in Kenya today. Matters of interest even to Kenyans, the succession politics in Uganda. We'll be looking at some of these headlines and a lot more with my panelists later this morning. Do stand by. Do stand by for that. This morning we'll be having Eric Ragalo, political analyst, Joyce Wamahio, economist and governance expert, Mesha Kodede, political commentator, and Kiruga Dhuku, MCA, Shinga Ward in Nyeri County. Do stand by for that, and you can be part of that conversation online through our social media pages at TV47 News on X and TV47 Kenya on Facebook. Later on
at 9 a.m. we talk about debt distress in the country, but now we really break it down. As a person, how do you have the financial discipline of even handling? If you have debt, how do you really handle all that? But before that, we get into it's Purple Day and just getting to understand how much do we really create awareness when it comes to epilepsy? Do you really understand epilepsy? Do you have people around you who have epilepsy? So how do you really become that person that they hold the hand and know that this person understands epilepsy and they can really walk the journey with me? Stick around for that conversation at 8 a.m. You can always talk to us on our socials at TV47KE on Facebook, TV47 News on X, and Nyeringita_.
My Twitter handle is at Fred Indimuli. Let's take a break now. You're watching Morning Cafe.
The raging floods from Sunday night's deluge have been recovered after a day full of rescue operations. However, the body of a police officer was on Sunday evening swept away by raging floods in Nairobi's Country Bus station, while helping to rescue 4 people trapped by the flash floods is still missing. Constable David Chesire from Kamukunji Police Station was in the company of his colleagues when they came across 3 women and a child trapped in one of the stalls where a concrete slab had caved in. Reporter Lennox Sangre with the details.
At the famous Nairobi Country Bus terminus, the scene is out of character, which is typically a beehive of activities, is now the scene of desperate and tragic search. A sad story of Constable David Chesire, who tumbled into the fast-moving waters in the exposed ditch mere moments after rescuing a family who were marooned by the aftermath of Sunday's heavy rains, which caused havoc in the most parts of Nairobi County.
So kulikuwa na madha fulani hapa alikuwa na mtoi mwenye hii shop. So alikuwa amekuja ile kumsaidia kufunga. Sababu hapa place pia sometimes hakukuwa na ile security power. So alikuwa na patrol akikuja kumsaidia. So the mother alikuwa na mtoi. So angeweza kufunga pale hivyo. So yeye alikuja kumsaidia. So it was just abruptly kukakuwa hivyo. So kukaporomoka vile mnaona hapa hivi. Kukakuwa hivyo. So hiyo maji ilipita pale kwa ile pavement ile calabash ya ndani ikapita na juu. Kulikuwa hapa na fridge ikapita na yeye hivyo.
Witnesses say that the 10 p.m. incident saw the officers quickly swing into action, successfully rescuing the 4. But Constable David Chesire went back to close the stalls when the remaining bit of concrete slab covering the ditch caved in and the flood swept him away.
Ili machozi naangusa. Jamani besti yangu. Siriko ba. Jamani besti yangu.
According to the police privy to the investigation operations, the now missing Chesire was swept away together with his rifle and AK-47.
Sasa hizi tunajaribu kutu kumsaidia lakini yuko chini kabisa. Hata tunangoja tractor ikuje mtoe alafu ndo tumtoe.
But we are very disappointed with the government. They have not responded in any way in helping us. We left to rely on these local boys from this area to help us get into the river, which is also risky. The county response team has been full of false promises. They have been lying to us they are coming from 12 in the morning up to now.
And here in the tunnel where the police officer is said to have fallen in, a large tunnel channeling water to the filthy Nairobi River. A battery of political luminaries, including Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja and Nairobi County Police Commander Adamson Bungei, camped here to lend a helping hand in rescuing operations. It has been nearly 24 hours since Constable David Chesire caved in, but the big question that begs an answer: where are the specialized police officers who are tasked to deal with such disasters when it occurs? Lennox Sangre, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Lennox, for that. Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has expressed confidence in restoring Kenya Airways' lost glory, speaking at the relaunch of direct flights to Eldoret. Murkomen now says that the government has not given up on the airline, adding that it is working to improve operations in the airline. The resumption of flights is set to boost economic development in Uasin Gishu County and other bordering counties, with 5 flights expected each week. The flights had been cancelled and suspended close to 10 years ago.
The first Kenya Airways flight to Eldoret in 10 years departed from Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport this morning in a fresh relaunch of that route. Roads and Transport CS Kipchumba Murkomen, who presided over the event, says the relaunch is just the beginning of the restoration of glory to the airline, adding that it will ease air transport for the locals.
Having this flight going to Eldoret is going to serve even greater population. The idea we have here is to make sure that as many Kenyans as possible have access to transport and make it possible for us to fly from other parts of the world straight to the nearest destination, nearer to our homes.
Kenya Airports Authority Chairman Caleb Kositani has also added that the resumption of flights to Eldoret marks a major milestone for the airline.
Thank you very much. We work very closely with you within our airports here, and we're looking forward to growing the aviation industry in Kenya.
KQ Chief Executive Officer Alan Kilavuka says there will be 5 weekly flights to cater for the high demand of air transport among the locals.
We've started off with 5 flights weekly, and what we've tried to do is to look at where there is need and fill those needs or those gaps so that people can fly to and from Eldoret and to other destinations onward as comfortably as possible.
Eldoret is a bustling economy representing not just a destination, but a gateway to endless opportunities, growth in trade, tourism, and economic growth in that part of our country.
Various leaders from Uasin Gishu and surrounding counties say the flights to Eldoret will aid in economic development in the region.
United under the NOREB banner, we are all working towards seizing every opportunity that comes our way. As we witness the resumption of daily flights, this is a clear indication of a progressive spirit.
We rely on sports tourism, and we know it will be very easy to actually have our people come to Elgeyo Marakwet.
KQ had cancelled the flights to Eldoret in 2014, a move that had inconvenienced both locals and tourists who are loyal to the airline.
Welcome Kenya Airways, and we will support every endeavor that needs to be supported for the success of Kenya Airways in this region.
Vera Alberta, 247, Nairobi.
The Kenyan media fraternity, family, friends and well-wishers on Monday congregated at the Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi for the Requiem Mass of the late journalist Rita Tinina Yepan. One by one, her colleagues, family, friends and those who interacted with her personally eulogized the late Tinina for her professional and personal attributes. The late Tinina died suddenly last Sunday after a brief but severe illness. She leaves behind a 9-year-old daughter, Mia, and a loving partner, journalist Robert Nagila. The late Tinina will be buried on Wednesday at her home in Narok County.
Has crumbled. Akirita umetuacha kwa mataa. We could spend countless hours expressing our love for Rita and her extraordinary qualities, but she knew that. So today we simply wanted to share with the world the remarkable woman that Rita was. Little did we know that the world would reciprocate by sharing their experiences of Rita, her values and the impact that she had on their lives.
What is remarkable, I find, is Rita Tinina established her legacy just shy of her 46th birthday. There is no doubt, and if anyone is, just look around you. We are all here because Rita impacted our lives in a special way. My sister Paula, who was unable to be here with us today, has called me a number of times over the past week to support the family. It is I who has ended comforting her because of the impact that Rita had in so many lives, including hers.
Pursuit of truth and justice, Rita's narratives transcended the boundaries of mere news. They resonated with the hearts and souls of our audience, as the last 1 week has so profoundly demonstrated, stirring emotions, provoking thought, and inspiring change.
And Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Okumicho has decried the high cases of tuberculosis being recorded in the country, even as the world marks the International Tuberculosis Day on Sunday. According to Nakumicho, the Minister of Health is working hand in hand with other stakeholders to find more ways to address the decrease, or rather the disease. In the counties of West Pokot and Bungoma, cases of tuberculosis are reduced over time. This story was produced by Andre Juma.
Kenyans joined the rest of the world in marking World Tuberculosis Day, whose celebrations took place in Murang'a County, where the Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicho led the nation in celebrating gains in the fight against the disease, while at the same time decrying high cases of tuberculosis being recorded in the country.
In Kenya, as in many parts of the world, TB continues to pose a significant public health challenge. And despite our concerted efforts and notable progress over the years, it remains a leading cause of mortality.
TB continues to pose a significant public health threat, particularly in vulnerable and marginalized communities.
According to Nakumicho, the Ministry of Health, together with other stakeholders, will set aside enough funds to help in addressing the spread of TB.
We should not just treat them as statistics. It should be a reminder to ourselves and to everyone here that we have to do something about TB. But I'm happy to note that over the years as a country, we have made progress.
In West Pokot County, the celebrations took place in Kapenguria, the county having recorded a significant drop of TB infections compared to last year. Currently, the county prevalence rate stands at 11%.
2023, West Pokot notified 1,617 drug sensitivity to TB cases. That is equivalent to 14% of these being children. Up to 60% of our TB patients are undernourished.
Wale ambao wanaathirika wengi zaidi ni watu wazima. Watoto ni wachache. Na waambukizi ni watu wazima. Ndiposa mtu yeyote akipatikana kuwa na TB, watoto chini ya miaka 5 ambao hao wanatangamana nao ni vizuri pia wapimwe.
In Bungoma County, human rights organizations have called on both national and county governments to move with speed and curb the high rate of infections, urging locals to take personal responsibility for the fight against tuberculosis.
Right, and that does it and wraps up our news updates for you. More context of this particular stories will be coming your way on the state of the nation threat in Dimuli. Right on set, political analyst Eric Ragalo, economist and governance expert Joyce Omahio, as well as Chinga Ward MCA Kiruga Thuku. Karibuni sana. See you in a minute at around 8 a.m. Fred and Dimuli will be with you.
.47 with me, Fred in Dimuli. It is time for State of the Nation. This morning we're privileged to have Bwana Kiruga Thuku, MCA Shinga Ward in Nyeri County. Karibu sana. It's good to have you in studio.
Thank you.
Next to Bwana Thuku, we have Joyce Omahio, economist and governance expert. It's a pleasure to host you on TV47. Last but not least, Eric Ragalo, political analyst. Also a medical professional who's on strike.
It's always in the bad sense.
And Mesha Kodede will be joining us, political commentator Mesha Kodede will be joining us briefly on set. But let's start with you, Bwana Ragalo, because doctors are on strike. Does it worry you that we do not have the strike featuring on any of the front pages today? And I'm looking at the Standard, the Daily Nation, and even the Business Daily that have the physical copies, and I do not see that. And even as you answer that, allow me to welcome Bwana Mesha Kodede onto the set. Bwana Odede, karibu sana. Bwana Odede is a political commentator and has been on this panel quite a number of times. Karibu sana. But Bwana Ragalo, does it worry you that we do not have the doctor strike featuring on the front pages today?
It's not a worry because it's usually the machination of the government to ensure that some of the things that are important to them appear in the dailies. What I'm trying to say, it's a government that wants to control everything. It has controlled our country economically and gave us a bogus finance bill, which my friend Dhuku here are lying to Mount Kenya people. They are going to talk to the president to reduce the cost of living, or the cost of living that the people who brought it in. And with his friend Ndindi Nyoro, they are still telling KRA that they are going to asking KRA to reduce the cost of living, as if Ndindi Nyoro was not there when these things were happening. So whatever they want to do with the strike is still on. And our country, it's upon you Kenyans to decide how your country want to be. Medics want things done the right way. The students who have finished school and are yet to go for internship are asking to be given internship. Where did the money for internship go, first of all? Those are the things you're asking. And that's why they don't want them to be in the paper, because they are pertinent and real issues. Why are doctors not getting insurances? You Kenyans, you saw medics die of COVID and many other illnesses, especially COVID. Remember, we lost a deputy med sup Thika, died of COVID. If you remember that time. Our first COVID patient, doctor died in Nairobi South Hospital. You remember that time. And there is nothing called insurance to the medics. But when the police get sick in Dimuli, they will go to a hospital. They have a cover that can run for many, many years. The doctors don't have that. You're treating a police with a good cover, both CIC and NHIF. You, a doctor, get sick and a nurse gets sick, you will have to look for money to treat yourself. Okay. So what does that tell you? What you can offer, you cannot provide for yourself. Mm-hmm. That's what we're asking. And my concern is the fact that this discussion is no longer what people are talking about, because this dailies simply mirror what Kenyans are talking about. And the doctor strike, my concern is that it does not feature anywhere. It does not feature. It does not feature because people who are suffering are not Kenyans. They are the hustlers. People in Kiambu Sub-District Hospital calling level 5. People in Murang'a level 5. People from Othaya, where my friend comes from, level 5 and 6. Those are the people suffering. Are they important to the government? No. Okay. If it was someone big who had a problem and was taken to Kiambu and could not be treated because a doctor was not there, it would be in the news. Okay. But people who are suffering are not important. Let's not focus on what is on the dailies, because they seem to have agreed on what is important.
The government doesn't control the dailies. He should stop telling.
And what features on all the front pages of the main dailies today is this apology by the Deputy President. On the front page of the Daily Nation, Mama, please forgive us. And on the front page of the Taifa Leo, Mama Ngina nisamehe, and it has a very interesting photo of the Deputy President with his hands raised up. Bwana Kiruga Dhuku, this changes the game completely in as far as Mount Kenya politics is concerned. The fact that we are seeing a sort of rapprochement between the Deputy President and the Kenyatta family, which was a relationship that we had all thought was completely severed.
No, you know, as we say, there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies in politics. And, you know, politics is a very dynamic game. But even before I come to that, I really pity my friend Ragalo. Ragalo seems to be in the wrong side of things every time. The other time, he was busy eating tear gas all over the city in the name of Maandamano. I was telling him, stop, this thing is not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Now he shot a lot of tear gas. Now look again. He's headed to getting another round of tear gas, because I don't know, he's one of those saying they will go even to the streets. But anyway, I think activism is in his blood system. He should only model it.
You don't feel like doctors are on the streets justifiably demanding for what is rightfully
you see, it's okay, but you see, friend, and as you see, that is why it is the news are even don't seem to be getting a lot of attention from Kenyans. These doctors are already hired, and if they want their terms of services valued, you know, they should sit down with the government, you see, because these things have been there, time in, time out, over the years since the days of Mzee Moi. So, I think those to blame are the people like Ragaro, you know, because they just want to hype things, but things can be doable. All they need is just to sit down with the government, because then again, you don't want to tell me, friend, that doctors will get all the resources, and then the other sectors, even MCAs have had to go back on their requests, justifiable requests, because the government has to balance all the sectors. And that's all they need to sit down with the government and agree on.
And I had attempted to move away from that, but you've reintroduced it. Let me allow the panelists to comment.
But very briefly.
I'll come back to that issue of politics in Mount Kenya.
Yes, so I think then we are agreed, and I can see you also support it, that the doctors should give government time. And you see this man, because he's our friend, he should moderate his style of operation. It is not about chest forward every time. You know, he is muscular now. He seems to go with, muscular.
Joyce Mahio, do you agree that with the Bwana Thuku's sentiments with regard to the doctor strike?
You know, I'm actually looking at him, Idimori, because I want to define in his mother tongue the word of sitting down, because, he said they need to sit down. It's like they have been studying all through when the discussions on the CBA was being engaged. This is an issue that has taken about 5 years. Does Mheshimiwa want to tell these panelists that all that moment they've been studying, so we should have a sitting down ceremony so that we can renegotiate these terms? I don't mean not to engage on that direction. Yesterday, we had another dimension of the clinical officers again, threatening to join this discussion. Idimuri, it is an issue that is now making us lose our sleep. It's getting a bit now nervous, because the doctors have decided to hit the street, the nurses. We do not know whom tomorrow will pronounce. It shows the ruling government, the Kenya Kwanza government, does not have its priorities right. Today's deliberate effort of not showing the strike engaging any discussion whatsoever with the doctors, it is a sign of poor leadership. This government should put its house in order. We'll be saddened to realize that our doctors, terms of engagement and the job description of our doctors is not being looked into. Today, any nation that is unhealthy, that nation is weak politically, is weak economically, is weak spiritually. So does the Kenya Kwanza government, where Mheshimiwa comes from, is in that leadership, want to take the direction of the Kenyans into poor economic, poor political leadership, poor mental issues? I think the answer to this great cold morning is a big no.
And of course, it should be noted that health is actually a devolved service. But Bwana Mesha Kodede, at a time when the government is focused on transitioning Kenyans from NHIF into a new comprehensive social health insurance fund, its handling of the doctor strike or strike by medical practitioners leaves a lot to be desired, don't you think?
Yes. Thank you, Fred. It leaves a lot to be desired. But the question Kenyans need to ask themselves is, who are actually running this government? Because if it was Meshach, it could be easy to dismiss and say, but this guy has not been in government, does not know much, give him time, like my friend Thuku says, give the government time to sit down and organize themselves. But here, the government is run by a deputy president for 10 years, a member of parliament for God knows how long, a minister in government in different ministries. This is the man that is at the helm of running government. And he is supported by people like Honorable Wetangula in the National Assembly, heading the legislative wing of government, arm of government. This is a man who, ever since he was nominated while still young to parliament, has never been out even for a day. Even now, he's sitting in that chair when he has already run as senator, won't come back to parliament, resigned again, meaning he does it the way he likes it. He has people like Musalia, who was removed from university straight into government, not just opposition. He was given a seat in parliament and a minister straight away in the 1989, way before people like Raila Odinga came to parliament. How do you want to convince me as a Kenyan that all these people, even as they were putting together their manifesto on the issues around health, they didn't see this coming? Because this particular thing we are talking about has got 5-6 years before. It means while William Ruto was a deputy president, these disputes were here. And so while you were campaigning, these are the issues you were telling us as Kenyans. I know I am in this government, but I am not the man at the helm. When you give me power to be at the helm, this is how I'm going to change things on matters health. But that is not the conversation we are having. The conversation is looking like it is Meshach who is running government, someone who people don't know. They first saw just the other day. I think this is not right.
And your comment reminds me of the cartoon on page 14 of the Standard. I don't know if my director has this cartoon on page 14 of the Standard, where you have 4 frames of the same person talking, and it says, hey, they told us things will be better. And he goes ahead and says, they told us things will be cheaper.
Yeah.
Then they told us things will be easier. And in 3 years' time, they will think we are stupid.
Yeah, Fred, to conclude, the truth is, sometimes we are not going to just blame the government. I think the voters have also their fair share of things. We know how to count the promises, but we don't know what counts. That's where the rubber meets the road. The things we are told, we can count and see he has given us 100 promises. The other one has only given us 10 promises. So, but do we know what counts? Because this is how people were told in Mount Kenya, that immediately we're in power, police will be escorting you when ukilewa to your homes, to go to your wife. Or it is only me who had that kind of statement. But does it count? The promise was good, but does it count now? So voters need to know when we are out there as politicians and we are throwing all those promises, they need to know which of these promises really count.
Okay, and that takes us now, because today we have very limited time, so I don't want us to dwell on this issue for too long.
Yeah, you remember very well during the campaigns, a group of doctors, and my friend Thuku was there, went to meet the deputy president then and gave the deputy president a document on how they wish health should be managed. And he promised the group of doctors that this is going to be sat on when he goes in the office. And he actually that day, he promised that mamas will be given free pads should they get kids. What's happening today? Yes, what's happening today? Just like my friend anasema, right now, walevi wanashikwa, wanapelekwa cell. From cell, they're taken to prison. Walevi. Those people have not done anything wrong just because he had his drink so much. Initially, they were told, ukilewa utapelekwa nyumbani. Fred, mlevi ukimshika umpeleke kotini, umfunge miezi 3 ama mwezi 1. The government is feeding this mlevi at most 500 shillings per day. He's feeding alone. That is how much money are we wasting on one person? This housing they are doing here, it should be a rehabilitation centers for some of these people who are alcoholics. Alcoholics are sick people. They are not drunkards. They are sick people. How do you take a sick person into cell other than rehabilitating them and bringing them to the society?
Okay, Bonathuku, do you want to change your stand on this issue about the doctor strike?
No, I cannot change. And you see some of these arguments, I don't know even where to class it. The ranks of the president and the prime cabinet secretary, as young people, I think they were singing for the likes of Raila when they were already in government. But what we are saying is, you know, this blame game will not solve issues. And it's true, the president, who is my party leader, has given commitment time and again that the best thing let us sit down together, we discuss the situation of the government, then we see what we can improve on. And actually, when we met the president as Kenya Kwanza MCs recently, these are the things he took our members through, that this is doable, because at the end of the day, we want MCEs to be properly facilitated in order for devolution to be properly entrenched in our systems. But then again, we cannot be blind to the fact that we came from a very, very serious situation as a country. And what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying, I'm not at any moment here, friend, or even out of here, see the doctors are doing anything bad for agitating for their rights. All I'm saying is they need, through their officials, through all the channels the government have availed to them, to sit down with the government and come up with the most realistic way of addressing their issues, because then at the end of the day, if this is greatly prolonged, it feels like, do these people have a conscience really? Because people are dying, there are problems, and you have had governors like Governor Sakaja. They are saying, because health is devolved, as you are saying, or greatly devolved, it is not 100% devolved, but it is devolved by greatest percentage. They are saying some of these things, even the doctors are agitating. For example, Nairobi County, we have availed all of them to them. We have hired interns, we have done all these things they are saying. So they are joining a strike that is not theirs. And the option that is left in our hands is to save people's lives through hiring other doctors.
Then hire.
Yeah, so you see, Lagaro, he is a business person, so he doesn't care. But the thing is this, the issue is our doctors need to sit down, because at the end of the day, people's lives have to be saved.
All right. The doctor's strike continues, I think, on the 10th day today, and no mention of it on any of the front pages of the dailies, which is a bit curious, hence my concern that even as a country, we've moved on from that conversation.
Yes.
But
even as they gang up against me here and the government, they should know that.
I want us to move on to the politics that features on the front pages.
Yes.
And it's interesting because all of you have raised an issue about Mount Kenya, but we do have a representative from that region. And questions are being asked about what exactly is happening in Mount Kenya. These headlines keep surprising us every day. The fact that, yes, members of parliament from that region appear to say on one hand, okay, fine, we did not go through that finance bill. We signed things we do not know. The deputy president himself saying, we need to relook at some of those taxes because things are getting uncomfortable in that region. Ndindi Nyoro, the MP for Kiharu, the chair of the Budget Committee in the National Assembly, who was key in processing the Finance Act of 2023, now saying even KRA should go slow on the taxation measures. And then now we see the deputy president making a U-turn and saying sorry to Mama Ngina Kenyatta. What exactly is happening? I think we are yet to put a finger on what exactly is happening in Mount Kenya.
Friend, one time I was reading a book, and it was saying, about these missiles, the way they are programmed. It may be dispatched from Nairobi, it should land in Mogadishu, and there is something called a homing device. And if the missile gets, off the route, the homing device gets it back. The politics in our region, and all of us here can agree, or anyone who comes from that region can agree. Our people like resource-oriented politics, and especially now, people want politics of substance. And nothing is ever perfect, friend. Even you as a person, you keep improving. And you have your targets in life. You say, I want to target that. You will try, at times you will deviate a bit, but the homing device will get you back on track. So there is our destination as a region. And we need to unite to reach there. So when you see us coming back here, we apologize to one another. That is something normal in life. Because
so you agree you had gotten off track?
Yes, you know, we have a saying in our community that access in the same sack. You keep colliding, they will even make that noise. They hate one another, and it is normal. So, for the deputy president, who is currently, Lagaro may want to dispute this, but he is the official community leader at the moment.
No.
Yes, come on, relax. So, for him to come, in fact, it was a great statement, great leadership, because we need all of us together, whether it's His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, all of us, because the past have happened. And like Dolly Parton once sang, the past have happened, but the future is forever.
Okay.
So that's it.
Joyce Umahi, the past has happened, the future is here with us, but it would appear that most of the elected leaders from that region are not sitting pretty. They're uncomfortable. They appear to be changing the initial stances. The deputy president, for example, the chairperson of the budget committee, elected members of parliament. Each person may be in hush-hush tones, but they appear to be changing the beliefs they held previously, probably because of the noise on the ground. Is that what is happening?
Idimuri, it's the gospel truth that members from the Kenya Kwanza government did a lot of choirs, and they forgot to read the finance bill. And when they were busy in the background singing choirs, somebody inserted a very seditious clause in the finance bill 2023 of the Mount Kenya tax. But my friend Mheshimiwa was not aware that somebody had inserted that clause, not aware that it was targeting members from Mount Kenya region. Idimuri, when you ask my mother's age mate, the late Anwar Boy, about Section 23 of the Finance Act, they have no idea. They sent my area MP Kwenya to go and read for them the act. Kwenya on his side with Mheshimiwa from Chinga never looked at the document. They said Ruto will read for us the document. And in essence, what did Ruto do, the president of this country? He inserted harassing clauses in that act that were meant to harass and intimidate members from Mount Kenya. When it came to the public domain, even the MP for Maragua said she never saw that document. You are privy to the information on Gatanga. When members of KRA went to sensitize members of the avocado about the taxation, and they were pelted with the stones. Why? Even the area MP never saw that clause, and he's aware. This is my feeling, Idimori, that the mountain is becoming now slippery. The rubbers that Mount Kenya readers had won cannot now sustain that crime. And it is the high time that, like what Mheshimiwa has said, it is the appropriate moment to come back now and seek that holistic apology. We are happy today.
This apology is linked to that discomfort.
True, yes. Including, it's a holistic apology. It's a holistic apology. When they invaded that great Radet, Roiro, and stole all the goods, and stole all the sheep, cut down the blue gum trees, stole all the rabbits. And I'm wondering where they took the rabbits. I'm sure they were not taken to Chiga.
No, she shouldn't talk as if I was there. I wasn't.
She has said
I'm saying they were not taken to Chiga.
I took the rabbits. I didn't.
I didn't say you took. I say perhaps they were taken to Chiga. I do not know.
No, they weren't.
Who are the financiers of that raid? They were members from Mount Kenya. What was the objective? To intimidate a fellow Mount Kenya. This is the rent period for us Christians and Catholics, and it's good to forgive. But we will not forget. DP Gachagua, even if you raise your both hands, like what is on the Taiva today, dressed in the blue jacket, the color of peace, we'll still have a problem with you. Because for 2 years down the line, you've been chest dumping yourself, coming to the areas of Mount Kenya, not to spread the message of peace, but to bring the message of discord. Today, the deputy president is at a place called Ol Karau, attending Pastor JJ's burials, the mother of the burial to Pastor JJ's mother. When you are there, because the service have not started, kindly spread the message of peace so that it is consistent with what you promised the Kenyans yesterday. Let us not today in the morning sing one song, in the afternoon we sing another song, in the evening we sing another song. Before I conclude, when they went for the burial of the late Kingori Mwangi, one seer said he drove on the wrong side of the road to go and meet the son of Gena to apologize. DP himself said, he was my boss for 18 years. I was rushing here so that I can tell him I'm sorry. You do not need public statements to go and apologize. Call out to my friend Mheshimiwa from Shinga. Tell him, if I stepped on your toes, I apologize. Let us not be, it's a PR business for us to go and apologize. It is the high time we owned up to our mistakes. It is the high time that Didi Nyoro and his brothers realized that they goofed in the Mount Kenya. And Mount Kenya is washing. Before I conclude, Idemuli.
Because of time.
Come 2027, we are going to rethink on the strategy on all those Mount Kenya MPs who misled the members from the Mount Kenya.
Bonaragalo, your assessment of this apology.
When Moi was living, he had a true apology. Kama nilikanyaga wewe, nisamehe. Kama nini. And you could see the pain of him saying that. This is not an apology. If you want to do a true apology, there is retribution of any apology. We are not yet gone. You guys have money. Bring back the goats. Bring back the sheep.
Yes.
Go plant the blue gum where you cut the blue gum. Bring back the rabbit.
That you stole.
And that you took away. That is a retribution with apology.
Yes.
You can do it. Secondly, we know Uhuru Kenyatta. I'm from Mount Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta is my kingpin in Mount Kenya, not Gachagua. And he can never be. Because you cannot inherit your father alive.
No.
Never.
Okay.
So the thing they did of taking away the seat of Uhuru and giving it to Ruto, when they said our leader right now shall be Ruto, that was wrong. You can also not take another king from another community and bestow in your community. That is wrong. Social injustice and social wrong. Then the lie they have provided their people. They lied to their people that ukulima wao itawasaidia. We saw what happened to avocado the other day. Go to Gatanga. The lorries went to airport to take avocado. The same lorries went back. And now you could find in Ruiru market an avocado going for 10 bob. The avocado that was never available. I ate avocado at my mom's place on Sunday. Kamuliza, hey, siku hizi una avocado? Akaniambia soko siku hizi zimejaa. My mom is in Ruiru. Yes. So I'm wondering, so from there, the disquiet is Akina Nyoro lying to their people.
Yes.
He knew what was coming. He knew that during the signing of the bill, there were 4 clauses that were added that were not there during the passage of the bill in Parliament. Who added them and for what reason? They should go tell their people. Okay? Then, I want to finish by saying this in Dimuli. When we say Raila amesoma tumesoma, Raila never lies to us. Akisoma, there's no time we come back and say Raila, hapa ulituenjoy. We've never said that. But them, they said they have read to their people. They have big lawyers there. So when Raila read the Constitution 2010, have we ever come back and said Raila has done wrong? So baba akisoma ni sawa. Wao walisema Ruto atawasomea, ndio hii.
Okay.
Fred, I think one thing is for sure now. All these things we are seeing of late, especially in Mount Kenya, it's not just going to be in Mount Kenya, I think elsewhere as well. This is now the real Raila effect. Because while in the backyard of Raila, they think some people can never get elected without Raila lifting their hands, The same way in Mount Kenya, some people can never be elected when you remove Raila in the political equation completely. So that is what you see now. The Mount Kenya, Raila effect in Mount Kenya is what we are seeing, because the campaign was pegged on dynasties, and Raila was the main demon. Uhuru was not a bad guy to Mount Kenya. Uhuru has been there, Kamwana, all through. They have supported Uhuru. Uhuru has supported Mount Kenya. What really could make Uhuru that bad? Only Raila. It is Raila who came close to Uhuru, and Uhuru accepted the handshake and worked together. That is what made Uhuru so bad, including his mother and everyone else. So the effect was just Raila. So right now, it looks clearly that Raila is no longer going to be engaged in the political scenarios around the country. And so people are beginning to find the issues now real issues, because when Raila is there, the issues cannot be seen. Remember this, in your clips you will find it. They said, and that was DP mwenyewe, whatever this man says yes to is bad for Mount Kenya.
Yes.
We don't even have to look at it. And whatever he says no to is good for Mount Kenya. So they were waiting for Raila to insist on this finance bill. And the way Raila came out and pointed out some clauses that were really bad for Kenyans, they got it in their head that whatever Raila says no to is good for Mount Kenya. So this is the effect, aftermath. So at the end of the day, everybody around the country, we are going to have to reorganize. Because if Raila is not going to be anywhere in the local political scenario, everybody in their corner is going to have to reorganize and come with substantive issues to the people.
Okay, and I'll draw your attention to the cartoon on the Daily Nation, which speaks to one of the MPs, the chair of the budget committee, who should be the main guy behind the finance bill. That's Ndindi Nyoro. And on one hand, he's seen pushing the finance bill, which is a very bulky
I think he's the one who moved the motion.
Yes, the Daily Nation, page 17, pushing it down the throat of Parliament. Yes? And in the next frame, he's the one carrying that burden and saying, KRA, go easy. And this, what do we call this kind of behavior? Or how can we excuse him? On one hand, he's the one who pushed it. Now he's feeling the consequences, and he's trying to lay the blame on KRA. KRA did not make the laws.
Oh, you know, friend, and it is funny how, you know, like my brother and namesake Meshach, the way he talks swiftly, even when throwing very poisonous, very poisonous words. You know, for my brother Agalo, I'm used to him. He have to hit the government. He have to support Baba using all manner of conjectures. But, friend, and I think we've been here severally, and I've always told you, nothing in this world except God is perfect. So, and what is good today may need some changes tomorrow.
Yes.
What was good yesterday may need some changes today. So, this finance bill, you know, it was enacted, and you may have to realize even the 2010 Constitution, after some time, you realize something need changes. So, even this finance bill, when it comes to reality of implementing it, you know, like we say the teething, when we notice the teething problems, they should be addressed. I wonder,
isn't it hypocritical? Because changing anything or amending anything here
not possible.
is actually through probably the Houses of Parliament. You can actually go back and amend if you need to.
Yeah.
But how come that conversation is not happening in Parliament? Now you're taking it to KRA.
No. That's not it. You know, when I say something, if I say that changes should be made to the Act, I'll be accused of stalking it in the media, but that does not stop Parliament from acting. But you see, there are a lot of misleading talk. Now imagine my brother Agaro, imagine speaking on national TV and saying he went home and found avocados. Even in my house right now, there are avocados there. We have eaten avocados all through. But, you know, personally, I have a foundation that is actually taking part. We have so far planted 14,000 seedlings. And by the end of this year, our target is 100,000 because there is very good market for avocados out there. Now, my brother here, and I don't want Meshach to join him in doing that, is behaving like those guys who are sent to go and spy on Canada.
Are you saying there are no issues with avocado farming in Mount Kenya region?
The only issue is the so-called taxation.
Very public.
The taxation. In fact, the problem we have had is with these nuts. You know, could see them being sold in macadamia. Could see them being sold in values, but now that is changing. Avocados, we have not reached there. Avocados, we have always eaten them and we will continue eating them. So what I'm saying is, I'm just cautioning my brother Meshach not to be incited by Ragaro. Ragaro is used to that. Okay. But the issue is, you know those spies, when they were told to go there, look the way things are, most of them brought a very negative report. Only 2 of them were bold enough to say, yes, there are challenges, but we shall overcome. Now I'm seated here with the 3 of you. I'm telling you, President William Ruto's government will succeed. I'm a member of NEC in UDA. The point in our manifesto and the points in your party, the ODM, are almost similar, especially on housing. Now you're here even attacking that. I'm telling you here,
to take a break.
We shall succeed.
Time for us to take a break. We'll be back to continue this conversation. Because as it is right now, Parliament is processing the budget for 2024-2025. And the question is, are we likely to see more of the same? That after the break. Cafe on TV47 with me, Fred Ndimuli. I'm still in studio with Kiruga Dhuku, MCA Shinga, Mesha Kodede, political commentator, Eric Ragalo, political analyst, and Joyce Wamahio, economist and governance expert. Just before the break, we were trying to see, is it hypocritical, the kind of actions we're seeing, especially by members of parliament in the Mount Kenya region, who appear now to be backtracking on their actions. On one hand, they passed the finance bill of 2023, which is now a law. And on the other hand, they're now blaming KRA for enforcing taxation measures that they passed in parliament. And Joyce Wamahio, the members of the National Assembly are currently engaged in processing the next finance bill, 2024. If at all they were true, or they're being honest and genuine about it, they have an opportunity to do something about it. And this is the only chance they have to reverse some of these taxation measures. But now we're seeing some not well-coordinated actions, especially from the Mount Kenya region. What could be the problem there?
It's a hypocrisy of the highest order. For one, Didi Nyoro to push through the throats of 50 million Kenyans, this finance bill, and on the other hand, passes the buck to KRA. This is the character of Kenya Kwanza government, forcing through issues to the public, and on the other hand, looking for somebody to blame. It is wrong in faith, because Kaidre be soft to the electorate. They need your service. When you're passing the rules, it is important that you consult, even with the consumers of those acts, so that it's in tandem with what you want to achieve. What has been the target of Kenya Kwanza government? To pass laws or to implement? To me, they've been out to pass laws that are harassing. This is not the only law Idimuli that is harassing to Kenyans. The Finance Act 2023. Look at the housing bill. Look at the education sector. Literally, look into every hand where the government puts its hand on. We're on the wrong footing. So to me, it's a no.
Yes, Bonaragalo, there's an opportunity to change things this time round. This is the chair of the budget committee talking like this. Do you think things will change? He has the opportunity, or should we expect more of the same?
Fred, I want to look at Kenya where it is. It's a time we should be telling each other the truth. It's a time when you want to heal the country, you start talking the truth. When you want to apologize to the country, you apologize with the truth. So the deputy was apologizing over what? You know, when you apologize, you don't just apologize, naomba msamaha over what? What have you done wrong? He knows what he's done wrong, so he should apologize. And if Ndindi is coming up to say that KRA should go slow on some of this taxation, KRA cannot go back on it, because these are mathematics and statistics that have been done to manage the country. If they decide they're not going to tax a certain department or a certain region, then it's going to have a counter effect in the whole country. So taxation has to continue to balance. But now the only time that they can change this is during 2024-2025 finance bill. I mean, the next finance bill. They will see how to apply some of this taxation. Of course, they went so hard on reducing kerosene and petrol. Where did they take the negatives of petrol? Could be this. Right now, we are going to water. We are going to remove, what do you call this on water? Subsidy on water. So the subsidy on water, where are you going to peg it on? The negatives on subsidy of water, where are you going to peg it on? So some of these things came back to hit us. Was subsidy really wrong? Yes and no. Yes, to them it was wrong. To us it wasn't, because it was managing supply and demand in even to the local Mwananchi's kitchen. But right now the Mwananchi's kitchen is hurting. The Mwananchi's pocket is hurting. I'll ask, when we removed Edu Afya, has it made it right for kids who are supposed to be managed in school? Amamedik, you remove Edu Afya. There are kids with sickle cell anemia, especially where we come from in Western region. These kids with sickle cell anemia gets attacked in hospital. Where do you take them? The parents are not even with you. Where do you take them? They have not even planned that they're going to have an economy hurt due to a sickness of a child today going to be taken to the hospital. So where are the sickle cell kids going to do when they get crisis? Are they not going to die? So doctors are killing people, or the government is killing people? So we have cardiac problem in hospitals, I mean with children, cardiac problems, and they are managed permanently. What are we doing to them? So when you remove Edu Afia, what have you done to the nation? When you change NHIF in a way it hurts others, what have you done to the nation? So as much as we are crying over a region hurt because of avocado, we are crying for a Kenya being hurt because of some of the changes the government did. When you hurt education by returning fees, what have you done? Have you added them salary? When you bring finance bill, 2.75% to be removed from my pocket, I may not feel the hurt, maybe because I'm doing much. I'm not saying I'm doing much better, I'm giving my example with me. But another person, that 2,000, 1,000 is a lot of money. Have you added their salary to remove some money?
Okay.
You've not. So employer, what are you doing to employer? Are they going to employ more or reduce people and then add them time for work?
Okay.
So are you making Kenya better?
But nowadays, it could be just an attempt by members of parliament to try and exonerate themselves from the blame. Because we've been discussing this issue that it would appear so far, President William Ruto, whatever he decides to do, he has his way. He decides to implement any taxation measures, affordable housing bill, SHIF. He has always had his way. There's no single policy that he has put forth that has actually been successfully blocked. So should we really expect that this noise that we are hearing from Mount Kenya to change anything going forward?
Fred, this is the effect of what we saw after election. You know, our politicians, we lack genuine and honest political class. The reason why I would say this, to be honest, and God is our witness, Kenyans elected majority for Azimio in parliament. But as we speak, it had to be decided by a speaker from the Kenya Kwanza who majority is. I mean, did Kenyans elect and then they didn't know who they elected majority? We need to be honest. If that remained the way it was, we would have a way of checking William Ruto's excesses. And he would have been afraid of doing some things without thinking twice. He would know that in the National Assembly or Senate, I'm going to have a problem. So let me see what makes sense for all Kenyans. Things would have been moving very well. So Kenyans were not foolish to have elected Azimio party's majority, but they did it at the very beginning before the parliament even kicked off. And unfortunately, the same Kenyans who are now suffering were the ones wanashangilia that it is on our side. Yeah, we have the majority. Now William Ruto has everything. So whenever he carries anything and say, this is what I want, the other side finds themselves minority. The only thing they can say is, we do not agree, and it ends there. So after not agreeing, what else? Even if they vote all of them, it ends like the majority have it. So we are going to see a parliament that is becoming the weakest link in our governance, which should have never been the case. We should have had
So despite these noises, we do not expect any kind of changes?
No. Maybe there is a little hope right now. The hope is Kenyans need to go through this suffering a little longer. Then Raila is not in the mix. Then we probably are going to agree. Now parliamentarians are going to see this thing is backfiring on them. So if, for example, my member of parliament goes back to Awendo, people are shouting, this is wrong, we are suffering. And if Mukurweni, member of parliament, goes back to Mukurweni, people are shouting, then they will come back to parliament and say, brother, now let's do something about, because it is now all of us. That is the ray of hope that I see. People should suffer. William, take us there a little longer.
Okay. Will this noise, the question is, will this noise in Mount Kenya region result in any better taxation measures?
Which noise?
A reversal of some of the... It is members of parliament from your region who are saying that some of the provisions of the finance bill or the Finance Act 2023 are not supposed to be there.
It's only the avocado tax, my brother. Let me
Are we going to see a reversal of that?
Of course, we will work towards these things. They are being discussed. But you know, sitting here with my brothers, and I'm not surprised because anyway, they argue like that most of the times I've met them. You may think the world is heading. But friend, my brothers here, especially this, my brother Agaro, This one. And this Meshach, I don't know whether he has Nagar as his tutor. You know, they are not telling us, and they are not telling you, by the time this government came into power, Unga, for which they were wearing suvurias in the head, this Nagar was wearing a suvuria in the head like the other person, it has moved almost by half from 200, a high of 260, it's now trading at around 150. They are not telling you the subsidized fertilizer. It's leashing farmers. We may have challenges here and there, but they are being streamlined. We are heading there. They are not telling you the dollar. You know, the shilling has really improved against the dollar. You see, they cannot say that. They are not telling you the fuel prices. You know, this Nagaro is a very bad person. You know, he's even trying to twist.
But no,
look, the reduction, the fuel has reduced.
My question.
No, look, Fred. The fuel has reduced and is reducing and will reduce more. And he still has the guts, instead of appreciating the government for that. Oh, he's saying, oh, I don't know. Hey, it is taken there. I don't know.
Forget about Ragalo for now. My concern is on this. My concern is on the members of parliament from Mount Kenya region who have already expressed themselves on some of their reservations about the provisions of the Finance Act of 2023. And I'm wondering whether these comments will actually be consequential because they are actually working on the next finance bill. Do you think that they will actually action some of the promises, recent promises they've made to the electorate and go and change things in the next 3 months?
What I've told you, my brother, is this. Even your vehicle here, outside here, you go with it, you feel there is a trouble somewhere, you take it to a mechanic.
You change it.
You change it. You address the challenge.
Should we expect change?
Of course. No, not.
That's
in fact,
Fred,
everywhere. Wait a minute. Let me finish. Everywhere where we may have a challenge, we have a listening government. In fact, the way they are portraying it, it shows they don't even know President Ruto well. We know he's a consulting person.
Okay, let's allow one
Just 1 second. You might want to count many things that have been reduced here and there. I don't know where Kenya Kwanza got the reins, but things like fuel, for example, Fred, I think I can look into that camera and thank the Arabs because my deputy president here in the country told us, ni Warabu, it's not them. Don't you remember? The fuel issues have nothing to do with us, has nothing to do with William Ruto and our government. It is Warabu who will increase the prices. So I am looking at that camera, Tsuku, and I am thanking Warabu. Thank you, Arab nation, for listening to our cries. So don't pick that as your achievement.
Let's come back to Wamahio.
Yes.
Because our concern now is that there may be a lot of noise and we may be reading too much into this headlines about discomfort in Mount Kenya region because we've seen that when it comes to voting in parliament, they go exactly the way the executive has said you go. No removal of comma or a full stop. And yet you go out here and say, KRA, stop this, stop the other. Is it going to be consequential, the kind of noise we're hearing from Mount Kenya region?
Before I answer that one, Mr. Duku seems to be suffering from selective examples. It's only this week and last week, yesterday and last week, that we found fake fertilizers being stocked up at a village in Wasilgishu. We also found some fake fake seeds, maize seeds, being packed at Nakuru. God loves Kenyans. Because this is a deliberate effort from Kenya Kwanza to bring in fake fertilizers, fake seeds. But God has been generous to the Kenyans and the rains are here and our fields are good. The noise is getting louder. And trust me, Edimuli, it will still get more louder because they're still suffering from that selective way of dealing with issues, passing back and passing bring to others. This will not augur well at the wrong run for the members of Kenya Kwanza. I think it is the high time that next time when Duku, the party leader, calls you, now go and tell him on the face that Mlima sasa imeanza kutereza and it's not getting easy.
But will it be consequential in parliament? Will this noise translate into any tangible change in the finance laws?
It will not amount to much because Mount Kenya is known of not bringing back 75% of the MPs. So the ones that are there, we just go home and we'll have a new fresh blood into the house.
So in as far as the next finance bill, which is being worked on currently, in the next 3 months, we'll be seeing a new budget. We do not expect.
We do not expect much.
Okay.
Yes.
But Fred, you know, my sister here is talking of Mlima Kuteleza. I want to inform them. You know them, me from here, I'll go to the village. Them, you just enter offices here in the city and continue with the city life. When I go back to the village, where the president visited, he came to my ward, said, you know, these are very good supporters, see what's happening in Chinga. He came there, and you know we had suffered some consequences for sticking with him very strongly. And actually the president promised there, because I said it in front of our people. Our road had been abandoned. You know, we were living through very harsh times. The president promised contractors will be back on site. They are now back on site. If I go with you there, if she comes and visits, and we give her Doma and Guashe there, she will see our roads are being done. She will see water projects are going on. She will see this government is doing other development there. And we are supporting this government to work for our people. So we are fine. Which Kuteleza is she talking about? We want to see things happening for our people. We want work to be done for our people. And this government is doing exactly that.
Because of time, allow me to give each of you about a minute and a half, starting with Bwana Eric Ragalo for your final comments.
My wish for the government is to remember the unskilled workers. Workers that have been doing some kind of jobs for a long time and they don't have prerequisite certificates that could assist them to grow in this country. And also I want to remind the government that there are skilled workers that are leaving the country every day. You may be happy because the government said that we are looking for dollars, but how long does it take for the government to train people? Give them what is necessary. Hold your skilled workers in the country to build your country. You take them away, then tomorrow you want to bring Congolese and from other countries to work as laborers in your country. Is that what we want?
Okay. Bwana.
Thank you. Mine would be on the doctors, Fred. We want to plead with the government of Kenya and the CS for Health to reconsider her ways of handling the medics, because it is very important to the people down at the grassroots. There is no way people will go to those hospitals when they know doctors are on the streets, and that will make some people die in houses. We will see a lot of harm than good. The so-called interns, in the medical field, their interns are not the other interns that we have here. Those are fully graduated doctors who have already been employed, only that they are working under supervision. And I have one of my friends who are in that category, somewhere in one of the level 5 hospitals. The guy sometimes does in a day, the cesarean section, like 20 or 30 in a day. And that is the person you want to call intern, and then on the other side want to pay 50,000 or 47,000. It doesn't make sense. So let us not, even if it means changing that name intern, let us agree, change that name so that they can feel it was worth it being in school for 8 years and more. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bwana Kiruga Dhuku,
thank you. Thank you. I have 1.5 minutes. Thank you very much. I also wish to say I believe the doctors have a point. All they should do is kindly accept to treat our people as you negotiate with the government. We have a listening government. And also, finally, friend, all these changes you see in the political field, they are normal. You see, like now, we contested against BAMBA. Now, for my friends here, they should know I'm one of the key supporters of BAMBA to become the AU chair. My party leader and president of this great nation and our party, we are now supporting BAMBA. We are campaigning for him. So Now, whenever they see me, they should know I'm supporting Baba for AU chair. They should even be inviting me for a cup of tea. Like now, I should not leave Nairobi before I eat something from them, because now I'm supporting Baba strongly. So they should not hate us so strongly, and they should actually support government programs, because this government will ensure Baba becomes AU chair. You should thank us for that.
And now that you mentioned the party, there's a question about the anticipated elections. They were to happen around March, April, the UDA elections. You say you sit in the NEC.
Yeah.
Yes, so what is exactly the position on the party election?
Yeah, we are still looking forward to holding our party elections.
This April?
Yeah, this April, unless things come up and we see any need
Do you anticipate things to come up?
No, we don't, but if they do...
Have you set a date?
Yes, of course there are dates. They will be communicated by the party headquarters, because they have the mandate to do that. We don't fear elections ourselves, and because we want to streamline our party, and you know this is the strongest party in this country. I hear them saying about another majority. No, we are the majority party. We are the ruling party. And so we will streamline things.
And elections are coming.
And the elections will come. And very soon, you see these guys, they will join UDA. Okay. Thank you very much.
Finally, Wamahi.
On the Daily Nation today, on page 23, the taxman forecast that they will miss the correction by 330 billion. My honest message, straight looking to Maura's face, the chairman of KRA, change the strategies that you have so that you do not miss targets. Some of us who are former employees of KRA, we never missed our targets and we surpassed our targets. When I say change your strategy, this year and last year, you gave what you call the part tax exemption. You cannot forgive and forgive in bits. Give a total tax exemption. Allow Kenyans to do voluntary taxation strategy. This is what we call the self-assessment. When you deal with the self-assessment, Maura will not have this statement of tax collection. We'll miss by 330 billion. And that is only for a quarter. Now, if it's for a whole year, then Maura is telling us that he'll miss the target by 1 trillion. Now, this is a serious statement. It is the high time. KRA, although you have issues with the human resource, it is important that you change your tax strategies. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joyce Wamahi, economist and governance expert. It is the first time I'm hosting you on TV47. Asante sana, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you,
Eric Ragalo, familiar face on this panel, political analyst, Karibu sana, or another familiar face, Mesha Kodede, political commentator, and of course, my friend Kiruga Dhuku, MCA Chinga, also a very familiar face on this panel. Our panelists this morning on State of the Nation, helping us understand what matters to Kenyans in as far as the dailies are concerned. Straight to editorial comment this morning. Now, once again, we find ourselves forced to call out the revolting actions of politicians invading funerals to cause untold chaos in the name of supremacy battles. Such an incident happened again in Trans Nzoia County at the weekend, where supporters of the county governor, George Natembeya, and Speaker Moses Wetangula clashed at the funeral of a wife to nominated MCA Philip Nyongesa. The resultant chaos forced the grieving family to suspend the funeral and conduct a hurried burial of their loved one, devoid of the dignity they had hoped to accord her. It is embarrassing that this altercation involved leaders of such high caliber, a serious indictment of the quality of leaders we voted for. But what kind of sick ego disregards the feelings of a grieving family on the day of the funeral? Did it matter to anyone how they were coping with the loss of their loved one, or the trauma they now have to endure with the memory of chaos that accompanied the final journey of their beloved? Such actions are not just nauseating, they are outrageous, vile, and wantonly inhuman. Let's pause for a moment and ask ourselves one question. Why funerals? Why do politicians repeatedly flock and hijack burial ceremonies of people they hardly know just to showcase their ill-timed political drama? What kind of sick mentality is this?